Well, good day. That's how we say hello in Australia, boys and girls. I am here to read you a story. It's Mrs. Christensen. That is by an author from Australia. She was actually born in Melbourne, which is where I came from. And so the book I have today is called Possum Magic, and I have a special helper with me. And this is a possum right here. This is going to be my helper during the story today for Possum Magic. So again, this is Possum Magic written by Mem Fox, and it's illustrated by Julie Vivas. Okay, here we go. And it's all about magic. Possum Magic. And let's see, why don't I move my helper right here to help us with the story today. This is written for Chloe. That's the dedication. Once upon a time, but not very long ago, deep in the Australian bush, lived two possums. Their names were Hush and Grandma Poss. Grandma Poss made bush magic. She made wombats blue, and I have a wombat here to show you. So you can see what wombats look like. Here's a wombat. And they're definitely not blue when you find them, boys and girls. This would be a color that you would see them. And kookaburra is pink, and a kookaburra is a type of Australian bird. And I have one right here. Here we go. A kookaburra. So she made kookaburras pink. Oh my goodness, that's not at all how we would see them over in Australia. She made dingoes smile, and dingoes are a wild dog in Australia. And emus shrink, and an emu is the second tallest large bird, like an ostrich, boys and girls. It doesn't fly. But the best magic of all, what do you think the best magic is going to be, boys and girls? Let's see if we can find out. Was magic that made Hush invisible. So Hush disappeared. Oh goodness, look at that. That's quite the magic. What adventures Hush had. Because she couldn't be seen, she could be squashed by koalas. And here I have a koala with me today, boys and girls. Oh my goodness. Because she couldn't be seen, she could slide down kangaroos. Look at this, right down the tail. And I also have a kangaroo for you to see, boys and girls. Here we go. All right. Because she couldn't be seen, she was safe from snakes, which is why Grandma Poss had made her invisible in the first place. But one day, quite unexpectedly, Hush said, "Grandma, I want to know what I look like. Please, could you make me visible again?" "Of course I can," said Grandma Poss as she began to look through her magic books. Do you think she's going to remember how, boys and girls? She looked into this book and she looked into that. There was magic for thin and magic for fat, magic for tall and magic for small, but the magic she was looking for wasn't there at all. Oh no, what are we going to do? Let's see. Grandma Poss looked miserable. "Don't worry, Grandma," said Hush. "I don't mind." Do you think she really did? But in her heart of hearts, she did. All night long, Grandma Poss thought and thought. The next morning, just before breakfast, she shouted, "It's something to do with food. People food, not possum food. But I can't remember what. We'll just have to try and find it." Something to do with food. All right. So later that day, they left the bush, and that's like the forest, the woods, okay, where they'd always been to find what it was that would make Hush seen. Possums don't actually ride bicycles, so this kind of book is definitely fantasy. Here we go. They ate Anzac biscuits, which is cookies, in Adelaide, Mornay and Minties in Melbourne, and Minties are a type of white candy that you chew. Steak and salad in Sydney, and pumpkin scones in Brisbane. And scones are more like what we would consider a biscuit here, okay? Hush remained invisible. Don't lose heart, said Grandma Poss. Let's see what we can find in Darwin. And Darwin is up at the top part of Australia, boys and girls. It was there in the far north of Australia that they found a Vegemite sandwich. And Vegemite is a black spread that is very salty, boys and girls, but in Australia we love it, especially on toast, on hot buttered toast. It looks like axle grease. It's very black, but it's, like I said, very kind of salty. Okay. Grandma Poss crossed her claws and crossed her feet. Can you cross your fingers and your toes for me, boys and girls? We'll see if it works. Hush breathed deeply and began to eat. He's going to eat. All right. A tail, shouted both possums at once, for there it was, a brand new visible tail. Look at that. Look at that. We can see the tail, boys and girls. Oh, how exciting. I wonder what is going to work for the rest of the possum to be seen. Later on, a beach in Perth, they ate a piece of pavlova, and oh, this is one of my favorite desserts. It is like a meringue, boys and girls, and then it's got cream on top, and then it has fruit like strawberries and kiwi fruit, and then grated chocolate on top of that. Hush's legs appeared. So did her body. You look wonderful, you precious possum, said Grandma Poss. Next stop, Tasmania. That's an island off the bottom of Australia. And over the sea they went. Here they are. In Hobart, late one night in the kitchens of the casino, they saw a lamington on a plate. And a lamington is, let's see, it's like a sponge cake that is covered in chocolate and then dipped in coconut. And it has a layer of jam in the middle of it. Let's see. Hush closed her eyes and nibbled. Grandma Poss held her breath. Oh, let's hold our breath. Are you ready to see if it works? It worked, she cried. And she was right. Hush could be seen from head to tail. Grandma Poss hugged Hush and they both danced. Here we go round the lamington plate till early in the morning. And I don't know if you've heard, here we go round the mulberry bush, but that's what they're singing to, boys and girls. But around the lamington plate. From that time forwards, Hush was visible. But once a year on her birthday, she and Grandma Poss ate a Vegemite sandwich, a piece of pavlova, and a half a lamington just to make sure that Hush stayed visible forever. And she did. I hope you enjoyed that book, boys and girls. I wanted to share some of Australia with you, and I hope that you enjoyed reading about Hush becoming visible. And here she is, our possum. All right. Thank you, boys and girls. I hope you've enjoyed the story, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon or reading you another story. Goodbye. I miss you all, boys and girls.